All right, everybody, we're going to get started. Hello to people watching it after the fact on YouTube, our people on Zoom, and we have butts and seats. We love that. Today, what we're going to do is talk about Sunburn and Bug Bites, aka the Summertime Workshop. For everybody watching this one after the fact and everybody on Zoom, the handouts are available here in the office. One of our attendees just grabbed a whole bunch of them, which is exactly what they're here for. Okay. As we go through this, if questions come up, whether you're here in person or on Zoom, raise your hand, let me know. We're going to cover some info that's pertinent because at the time of filming this, it's the middle of June, so it's summertime now. Summer, cookouts, parades, time at the beach or the pool, neighborhood kids running around at dusk trying to squeeze in one more game before the sunlight totally disappears. To get as much of these activities as possible requires some planning. Part of the planning should involve skincare. That's what we're going to focus on today. First thing we'll talk about is sunburn. Sunburn occurs when the skin no longer holds enough water to cool and hydrate itself. There are ways to nutritionally support the skin so that it can be more efficient with water and to deliver more water to the skin. It is also important to remember that lightweight fabric and wide-brimmed hats are your friend. Covering your skin when your sun exposure is taking place during peak intensity or for long durations is the best way to protect. Now we're about to talk about some supplement strategies, but I want to go over what I wrote right there. The things I'm going to recommend are really good support for skin and keeping it hydrated, especially during sun exposure. If you're going to have a long exposure, if it's going to be at noon, if you're traveling to Guatemala for vacation, consider some really lightweight long sleeve shirts, a wide brimmed hat. If you're a Wisconsinite, like most of us are, the sun in Costa Rica or Guatemala or Mexico is different. And if you don't know how you respond to it, I'm going to recommend you cover up and do this protocol just to make sure you don't ruin a vacation. Okay. First supplement to talk about is Cataplex F. This supplement is a food source of vitamin F, which I know it sounds like a made-up thing. It's not a made-up thing. Vitamin F supports numerous tissues in the body, including skin, bone, prostate, thyroid, breast, and gallbladder. Calcium is driven into tissues by vitamin F. Instead of blood, that's vitamin D. So it's not that one is better than the other. They are both important. But vitamin F has a very different job than vitamin D. And a lot of people who are prone to sunburn, I find, have high levels of vitamin D and don't need a supplement with it, actually. And I think that means that the calcium then is being kept in the blood instead of in the skin, and then the skin can't protect itself as well. So I got a little diagram here. Here's your skin barrier. Here's the outside of it. That is sun shining on your skin. What Cataplex F does for us is it will kind of lasso calcium, which carries water with it, and it will deliver it into the skin. If you've ever grilled, if you've ever cooked food in a frying pan, the only way you can burn food is if you cook all the water out of it. So long as the food isn't dried out or had the water cooked out, the moisture cooked out of it, it's not going to burn. Same thing with our skin. So we can use this vitamin F complex to carry calcium, which carries water, into our skin. Now let's talk about the specific calcium product that is most easily driven into tissues like skin. That would be calcium lactate, also by standard process. This is one of the most easily ionized calciums in the world. That means it takes very little energy for the body to convert it from supplement to usable nutrient. Other calciums, like calcium carbonate, are very difficult and labor-intensive for the body to convert. When calcium is driven into the skin, it carries water with it, and that water is an essential part of keeping the skin hydrated and not burned. Question on those ideas. Make sense? Cool. Clicking? All right, good. Let's flip that page. So here's how I have people take it. This is a general outline. Tweak it to what suits you. I'll tell you personally, in my body, more calcium, or excuse me, more Cataplex F is needed for me personally. Play around with your amounts. My wife is the opposite. She tends to need the calcium lactate more. She's fairer skinned than I am. I don't know if that's the factor or not. So take 3 Cataplex F and 2 calcium lactate before sun exposure. Then take 2 of each every 1 to 2 hours that you're out in the sun. This will help keep water in your skin. And when your time in the sun is done, do what you did before you went out in the sun, 3 Cataplex F, 2 calcium lactate. That idea of taking it throughout the sun exposure is just to make sure that we keep delivering this water into the skin, especially when we're being active. If we're doing any kind of athletics, this goes for our kiddos also. Summer, so I'm thinking baseball, some soccer leagues are going on right now, beach volleyball, especially with athletics. It's really important to keep dosing this stuff because we're sweating out a good bit of water. We want to make sure that we are replenishing that so there's some water to hang out inside of the skin. And please pay attention to your body. While this protocol is very effective, you may still get red skin, dehydrated, fatigued, etc. during sun exposure. If these symptoms occur, get indoors, get under shade, be smart. When you're first trying this internal sun protection protocol, this Cataplex F calcium lactate combo, I suggest you try it on a day when you know it's going to be short exposure or lightweight exposure, so you can see how your body responds to it first. I've been using this protocol since, when did my wife and I go to Costa Rica? I think that was 2011. So I know how I respond to it. I've been doing it for more than a decade. And it actually worked in Costa Rica for me. That was pretty cool. I tried this combo a few times before going there, and Costa Rican sun is very different than Wisconsin sun. But be smart, because there's all sorts of stuff going on inside your body all the time. When you add sun exposure and heat and sweating, all of those things can change how your body reacts to sunshine. Questions on Cataplex F or calcium lactate? Cool. Let's talk about USF ointment. I'm going to call this a supplement, even though you don't eat it. And this is one that, and Lori, you'll probably agree with me on this, that I wish came up in conversation more often. That I wish came up organically in conversation, just like naturally. For those times when we get burnt or irritated skin, this is something I always have in my house. There are many after sun products on the market, but this is the only one I'm aware of that has the vitamin F inside of it. So even if we do get too much sun, we get irritated skin, I still want to do things that are going to pull calcium with water into the skin. And what's nice about this USF ointment, because it's an ointment, if you get too much sun exposure, like trucker's arm, right? You had your one arm out the window and you weren't thinking about it when you're driving your car. You can use this to be site specific and help drive calcium and water into this area, because maybe this other arm is good because it was on the wheel the whole time. Okay? Use it liberally after sun, or I like to do this also before sun on the areas of your body that are going to get high exposure levels, like ears, nose, hands, etc. I love to play disc golf. Disc golf is an outdoor activity. One of the things I do is I always have a hat on when I go to play disc golf for a lot of reasons. Part of it is sun protection for my face, but I know the brim of my hat doesn't totally protect everything. So before I go out to play disc golf on a really sunny day, I am liberally applying this stuff from here to here, because that's where the sun is most likely to mess with me. I'm putting it on the tops of my ears because I'm usually wearing a baseball cap, and then I know that I am site specific, helping my body deal with that high level of sun exposure. Fun little thing, they use rose oil as the scent in here, so it's a natural scent, and it really does smell like roses. USF ointment is also something that I used with both my kiddos as a diaper rash ointment, because again, it's incredibly nourishing to the skin, and it's made out of natural ingredients that you can pronounce, like lanolin and rose oil, beeswax. Yeah. Questions on USF ointment? No? Cool. I'm going to go to bug bites now. Over the years, I have heard many different theories about why insects and bugs are attracted To some people, more than others. It's about your blood sugar being high. They like sugar blood, is my personal favorite. I remember the lady who said this to me. She was talking to her husband in the consult room. Uh, she was adamant that the reason some people were bit by more mosquitoes and flies and all that was because they had high blood sugar, and the bug and insect liked the taste of the sweet blood. I see no evidence for this. If there is evidence for this that you know of, please present it to me. I would be delighted. So here are a few things that have been tested by my clients over the years that I see work to help avoid bug bites. First one, Cataplex B Core. This B vitamin complex is made out of food, which makes it unique. One of the vitamins in this complex is vitamin B1. And B1 supports the neutralization of lactic acid in the body. I'm going to say that in English for everybody. It supports neutralizing the stuff that makes your muscles burn and makes your joints sore. It neutralizes that. It also nourishes the part of your brain that dreams and creates things, and it supports heart function. Cataplex B Core is easily one of the most important supplements for any client who comes to me with a heart condition. I have had numerous clients report that they became quote unquote less attractive to mosquitoes when they started supplementing with Cataplex B Core. The exact mechanism of why this is, I am unsure of. But what I know is again and again for years and years, clients have said, yeah, since I started that Cataplex B or that Cataplex B Core, I'm not getting bit nearly as often. I'm like, great, well, that was easy. Plus, we're helping your brain and your heart and neutralizing lactic acid, and your muscles feel better. So take 2 before you go outside, and take 1 of them every hour that you're outside. This supplement can also be quite energizing. So that's another reason I really like it in summertime. You're outside, you're doing stuff, keep your energy up without just being stimulated by caffeine. All right, let's flip the page. Go into Gut Flora Complex. Now, this is a new recommendation. This is new for this workshop. After a little bit of research, and I doubt he'll see this, but Dr. Bart Precourt helped me with this realization. Really good doc down in Florida. Gut Flora Complex. This combination formula provides herbal source nutrients that support the functioning of the digestive and immune system. It is most commonly used by clients dealing with yeast, parasites, and bacterial issues in their gut. I have personally seen that while supplementing with this product that mosquitoes and ticks are less likely to bite. Take 1 of them in the morning and 1 before going outside. Now I understand why that product helps this. The Gut Flora Complex, I drew little things wafting off of it, literally changes the way that we smell and the way that we taste, especially to certain types of bugs and insects. So as long as we are getting what is inside of here into our skin, when our little buzzy friend comes over, they're going to take a look, they're going to take a smell. The mosquito might actually bite you still, but pretty quick they're going to go, oh, this isn't what I want. This is no good. There's ingredients in here like clove and oregano. Those things are highly irritating to different insects. They're in a lot of different bug sprays. So what we're doing with the Gut Flora Complex is we are taking things internally that are going to be in our bloodstream. So those little bloodsuckers that like to get on us, they're going to get a mouthful of the things that hurt them if they bite us. Then they're very likely to stop biting us. The Cataplex B Core, I put the little wafty stuff on there also. I don't know, like I mentioned, the mechanism why that helps. I just keep hearing again and again that it helps keep especially mosquitoes away. And then potentially the most obvious thing, bug spray. Now, most bug sprays are chemical-laden junk filled with toxic ingredients. And they may keep bugs and insects at bay, but at the expense of the health of your nervous system. Most bug sprays, the chemicals that are in there, are poisons to the nervous system. And that's how they keep the bugs away. Because if the bug takes a mouthful of that, it's a high enough dose for the insect or the bug that it literally kills them by destroying the functioning of their nervous system. Now, it's a super small amount because the amount needed to kill a mosquito is way less than a human. I still dislike the idea of intentionally applying nervous system toxins to our skin. That's what I'm saying. So instead, we carry insect and tick repelling sprays that are safe, natural versions of the toxic stuff we are commonly sold. Apply 5 minutes before you go out and reapply as needed based on sweating, moving, weather, all that stuff. I got a bunch to say about these, so bear with me. Uh, First one is we have two very different bug sprays here. This one is Tick Be Gone spray. The ingredient list in Tick Be Gone is shorter than what is in this, which is Take a Hike. Take a Hike is a general anti-insect, anti-bug combination of essential oils. It's going to help with no-see-ums, mosquitoes, gnats, flies, a lot of different things, and a little bit for ticks. The reason the ingredient list in the Tick Be Gone is a shorter list is because it's just the things we know ticks hate, and also that can make ticks very ill. So if we know our backyard or our favorite hiking path, or in my case, my favorite disc golf course, Brown Deer, has ticks on it, I'm using this one because I'm less concerned about mosquitoes and more concerned about ticks. I also like to apply this to the bottom of my bags that I carry when I hike or play disc golf, because something that happens all the time is you go to pick up your bag from the ground, you put it on your back, there's a tick on it, and it'll find your waistband. And you wouldn't necessarily think about that. You're thinking about like cuff of the pants, shirt sleeves, neck, that stuff. We carry two different ones, depending on the situation you're going into. I personally keep both of these in my disc golf bag. So whenever I'm out and about in the world, I have them with me. And both of these are 4-ounce bottles, so TSA lets you travel with them. I just did this 2 weeks ago. TSA didn't care. Took it out, put it in a little bin, right through the x-ray, on my way to my flight. Now, because these are made out of essential oils, you will smell different than you usually smell. And in about the 10 years that I've been using products like this, I have shared with a lot of buddies that I play disc golf with or that I hike with. I have spoken to 2 different wives because their husbands, my friends, came home smelling like a woman, according to the wife, because they put a bunch of essential oils on themselves. And they swore up and down, I didn't have bug spray, Drew had bug spray, but it's this natural stuff and it smells like that. So I get a phone call and I look down and it says Anders. And I'm like, oh, I just saw Anders like a half hour ago. What's up? Hey, bud, what's up? And then it's his wife. Hey, Drew, sorry to bother you. And I was like, hey, is Anders okay? I'm thinking car accident on the way home. Or she's like, well, he's probably okay. I know now it's because he might have been in big trouble. Hey, when you were playing disc golf with him, anything weird happen? And I was like, not more than the usual. Why? And she goes, okay, did you share anything with him? And I'm like, oh, we're in big trouble. I'm like, I brought beers. He had 2 beers. One of them was an IPA, which is a potent beer. I am so sorry. I supplied those. And she's like, no, never mind that. I was like, what the? We played disc golf. And I'm like, my mind is racing because she sounds upset. And she goes, did you give him anything to put on his body? And I was like, he had his own baseball hat. Oh, bug spray. She's like, what kind of bug spray is it? I'm like, geez. And I explained it, and she's like, all right, thank you very much. Next time I saw Anders, I was like, what the hell is that all about? He's like, she thought that I smelled like a woman, and that I'd claimed I went to play disc golf with Drew, but I came home and I was clean, but I smelled like a woman, and not the usual disc golf appearance. Same thing happened with another buddy. You're going to smell like essential oils, and most people associate those with women. So for the ladies out there, it's not a big deal. For the fellas out there, just be prepared for that. Maybe let your wife smell it before you apply it to yourself. Sweet Anders. He was just trying to avoid some bug bites. Another thing I like to say about the natural bug sprays, I've been in multiple situations playing disc golf where I was with people who were using chemical-based bug sprays, and they were not working against the mosquitoes we were encountering. And I gave them some of mine to use, and that worked better than their toxic stuff. That's specific to mosquitoes. I don't know about gnats and biting flies and other things, but for mosquitoes, this Take a Hike spray is incredible. All right, questions on the bug bites?
Got a question. Oh, Kelly?
Yeah, no, she's good. Yeah. What's yours? Or statement?
I imagine you can combine the two sprays if you're going on a hike and there's going to be mosquitoes, right?
Yep.
Combine them.
Absolutely.
Double up.
Yeah. On the trip I went on 2 weeks ago, one of the disc golf courses I got to play online before I got there, multiple people had commented about it. Lots of high grass, which is more likely to have ticks. So what I did was I used the tick spray on my shoes, my legs, my pants, walking through the grass on my bag. And then I had the Take a Hike, the anti-bug spray on my upper body to keep mosquitoes at bay. You can totally combine the two. I would encourage you to think about like, what area am I using this for? Like on your body. Yeah, good question.
And then just a quick comment on the mosquito aspect. I give an honest testimony. Well over a decade ago, when I first met you and became well nourished, I was like one of those people that were just eaten up by mosquitoes all the time until you put me on. At that time, it was Cataplex B or something like that. They didn't have B core.
Yeah.
But I can honestly say that made a huge difference for me. Like, they don't even bother me to this day because, I mean, I might not even be on B vitamins, but they just know not to mess with me now because it's in my system.
Yep.
Just maybe from some of the other supplements, maybe, or
yeah.
I don't know.
B1 is in a couple of different standard process supplements. The Cataplex B or the B core is the most potent version or most potent source of the B1. Yeah. But also,
I just want to say it really works.
Right on. And you likely had a deficiency in that nutrient when I met you, and now we've restored that. So your body is just flowing with that stuff. And whatever the mechanism is, it obviously works. Excellent. Yeah, right on. Thanks for sharing. All right, bonus. I always like to do bonus in these workshops. I always like to throw a little extra in there. Burns can happen for reasons unrelated to the sun. Fireworks, hot grease, like when you're making bacon, grills, etc., can all burn our skin. Should this happen, I recommend the chlorophyll complex ointment. That's this stuff. This product is a potent combination of skin repair nutrients. Apply it to the damaged area and cover it with a Band-Aid. This is to support healing and to keep the ointment off your clothes and furniture because it will turn fabric green. Chlorophyll is naturally green. This is super concentrated chlorophyll. It will green anything. Yeah. No, it's amazing. It's a totally wonderful product. My favorite story doesn't come from a client. It actually comes from a neighbor. A couple of years ago, COVID was going on. People were isolating and separating and distancing and all that stuff. And it was 4th of July. And the neighbor right across the street has 2 kids that are a few years older than my kids. So they get to do more exciting stuff because they're older. And they had some fireworks. Little things that spin and shoot sparks, some firecrackers, a couple of Roman candles. And my neighbor across the street, Mike, was lighting one of them, and the fuse did something funny and blew a bunch of sparks right back at his hand super fast. And I have never heard Mike yelp, and I saw an empty boat trailer run over his foot one time, and all he did was go, but when those sparks hit him, he like yelped, okay, like wounded. I ran inside my house and I grabbed my chlorophyll complex and I went over to him and I was like slathering it on him so my fingers were green, the back of his hand was green. And he's like, thanks, that feels better. What is that? And I was like, that's trust right there. I just ran over and I started like rubbing stuff on his hand and he didn't even like, I told him to go inside, get gauze, cover that. I didn't see him for 2 days. And he showed me his hand and we could not tell that sparks had hit it. Like, just totally incredible how quickly his body was able to fix stuff with this. So if a sunburn gets really bad, you can also use this to help repair it. But otherwise, I'm thinking like the typical burns, you're lighting a candle, you're working a grill, you're baking, that kind of stuff. This is wonderful. I just keep it in my medicine cabinet, just like my USF ointment. If anybody in my house gets burned, they get this. All right. That is Sunburn and Bug Bites. Questions coming to mind? You do?
Right on. So you didn't mention like sunscreen at all then in the sunburn.
Yeah.
So what's your take on that?
Very good question. So let's go into that. So a lot of different products on the market in the sunscreen category. A lot of them are total junk. Some of them are hybrid, partial junk, and some good stuff. There is a brand that a client just turned me on to last week that I'm really researching. I believe it's called Sky and Soul. SOL, which I believe is the French word for sun. I might be mistaken on that. Um, the ingredient list was beef tallow, beeswax, zinc, like real things, all things you pronounce, jojoba oil. And their big claim is this is sunscreen that you can eat, which based on the ingredient list, I agree. It was all stuff that was food safe. So if someone's like, I have to have a sunscreen, this is what I'm going to tell you to look for. It's expensive, but a little goes a long way. It's also junk free. The other thing I think about is I want to talk about why we want to screen the sun. Because for so many people, the things that the sun blasts at us, a little bit or even a moderate amount of it, is really nourishing. So I don't necessarily want to block that. So where I see a topical sunblock or sunscreen being appropriate is some of the things I mentioned in the handout. You're going to have sun exposure at peak times. It's noon and there's no clouds in the sky. You're going to be outside for hours and hours and hours. You have a history of being really sensitive to the sun, and you're not yet used to doing the Cataplex F calcium lactate combo. Those are all times that I would say a really clean sunscreen would be good. Yeah. Oh, in Zoom, we got 5 more minutes. So if you
I got a quick question.
Sure.
Have you heard, this has to do with sunburn relief. Have you ever heard of like filling a spray bottle with a bit of apple cider vinegar, well diluted with water, and using that to beat sunburn?
Yeah, now that's an old remedy to take something acidic and apply it to skin. People used to use just straight up white vinegar for it. Apple cider vinegar is like a slightly more natural version of that. What I'll say is that applying something acidic to the skin can sometimes be really good for people, but this actually just came up on our Wednesday weekly workshop this week. If your skin is already in a semi-acidic state and you put something acidic on it, it'll push it too much further into acidity, and then you won't feel better. Okay? Whereas something like the USF ointment does not care about the pH of your skin because it's going to work on this mechanism of delivering calcium and water into the skin, which is not pH relevant. It doesn't matter if it's acidic or alkaline. So that's why I talk about that one. I have heard of people doing that though, and if it works for you, work it. But just be aware your skin may already be too acidic, and then adding more acid to it is just going to bother it.
What about using aloe vera as a remedy for sunburn?
I like aloe vera a lot. I have quality control concerns about aloe vera, and a lot of companies pasteurize their aloe vera products, which kills off a lot of the beneficial nutrient that is within aloe. So if we're going to use aloe for skin health, I'm going to encourage you to keep an aloe plant in your house. They are really easy to keep alive. And then when you need some, you just break off one of those leaves and you just squeeze it out and get the fresh stuff. That's the stuff that I see works. I used to work with a woman named Lee who had 2 or 3 aloe plants in her house. And her and her husband and her daughter were just nice to be around in general. So we would go to parades with them. But I especially liked going to parades with her because if I got oversunned, when we go back to their house afterwards, I'd crack off one of those fresh aloe leaves and fix it up. Yeah. Do you remember Lee?
Yes.
Yeah, right on. Yeah. Cool. Other questions online? Any other questions online? No? Kelly?
And also, so, yeah, I'm still wrapping my head around.
Yeah.
I can take these things, I can feel comfortable just using them before these certain, like, situations and stuff. It's like I have my program, and then I have trouble feeling like I can take other things besides what's in my program.
I love this question. And it comes up for a lot of people, so thank you for asking it. You're on a supplement program with me already, right? We're balancing minerals on your hair analysis. We're fixing a joint problem, whatever the thing is we're here for, right? Headaches, whatever. Um, and then you come to the workshop and I say, here's 4 other supplements, right? Those things are falling into the category of they aren't geared towards your hair analysis or what you came in for support with, but it's just like the food you eat every day. Like I don't tell you have to always eat these foods for breakfast, lunch, and for dinner. These foods, these supplements, are things based on your need for that day, like a sun exposure day, that you would add in. Just like you would drink more water on a hot day where you're sweating more, that kind of thing. None of these that I outlined here are ones that are going to disrupt what we're doing in your hair analysis program. So it's safer just to like acutely add them in. There are definitely products we have here that I do not recommend people randomly take. But everything in this workshop is stuff you can throw in your program and take out of your program based on need. Did that answer the question? Yeah, right on. Other questions coming up. Cool. Well, thank you for attending, everybody. As always, if questions come up after the fact, we got our phone number posted up here. We got our email posted up here. If you're watching this, it means you are a client, because this is one of those workshops that's a private workshop for clients and family and friends of clients only. So if you have a question, please ask it, because we always want you feeling supported. We'll see you soon.